Okay, so now we're going to move on to peak picking and playing around with whether we want more peaks or less peaks and that type of thing. So we're going to try and finish processing this so we can print it. The first thing is you always make sure that your title or the name of this spectra has been highlighted. Otherwise, it won't let you use the peak picking thing. This one's highlighted, it's active. So you can see this button. This basically says, click on this, and you're gonna magically pick peaks. Yay! I just picked up right here something that I don't like. See how there's clearly two? I'd like to pick this. And I'm looking up here, most of these ones are good. Maybe I want that one, maybe I want these two, but a lot of them are picked. It looks tentatively okay. And while I'm here, even if the trick here is if you put your cursor over one of these numbers, you left click, see how it gives you a little green box? When you release it, that's where you move the number to. So you can move these however you like to do that. So that's a nice little trick. But getting back to trying to change the sensitivity of peak picking, you go up into process, and I mean, you look down this list, and you come down to peak area or peak table. So peak table is where you're gonna go. And up comes this table that prompts you the threshold, right? And this one here says you wanna pick anything between 4,000 and 600, and you wanna find the peak. So that's defaulted. The only number that I've ever been able to change is this one. It's the threshold sensitivity. If I make this number 10, I'm gonna pick a lot less peaks. If I switch it to, for instance, say 0.5, okay? And then I click OK. This first comes up. It's a table showing you the actual numbers of the absorptions, which is kind of funny. I'd rather just go back to the spectra, but you have to go over here, close down this window for the peak data. It hasn't changed your spectra yet. This is still the same peaks it was before. So this is the trick. You have to go back up into label peaks, click it once, it takes the labels off, click it again, and it puts the new threshold setting in. So notice how before this peak right here was not picked. It is now. These ones are picked, but this one over here is still not picked. So the other thing too would be to go back to process, and we'll take one more stab at this here. I'm going to set that to 0.1. Let's just see. Got a lot more peaks. Close that table. It's still not picking that one up. So the other thing too, which I honestly, for qualitative purposes, we're okay with that. No, it did pick it. I forgot to toggle it, folks. So if you're really desperate to get that last peak, you could always just play with, because it's easier. The manual one on this one, I gotta be honest, I honestly don't know how to do it. Never been an issue to try it. I'm not really worried about extra peaks if that's what it is. And you can actually take this, move it over so that you can see it better. So once you have all the peaks that you wish, okay, you can tidy up some of the peaks that might be overlapped a little bit. So you can click on some of these, drag them over, right? So that you can see the numbers. And then over here, you would kind of do the same thing. I want to grab that one, pull it over. I'll grab that one, pull it over. So obviously being able to do this is kind of important because you can even grab one and drag it down lower. I like to be able to see all the numbers. So if I like what I see and I'm about to print, the next thing I do is go up here to ABC text. This is very important. You're going to put a text box in. So for me, I'm going to call this Benzyl, and I'm going to say, I don't know, Mike's. You folks should always, always, always literally write in not only your name and your lab partner, but exactly the name of the compound that this infrared spectra is. I can't tell you how many times, students in a hurry, they don't put a title on it. So when I'm marking their lab, I'm looking at the infrared spectra. They draw a picture later what they think it is, and I know right away that's not the compound. In organic, especially organic 3, you're gonna have so many different spectra and so many different labs on the go all at once. You gotta keep this straight, so put the name in, type it in quick and then hit OK, and it appears there, and you can grab that too and move it, you know, wherever you want as well. If you like what you see, then you simply, what you should do before printing, just to be safe, go up to File and click on Save As. And here's the window. It normally defaults to the Spectra folder. What would be a good idea is for you to simply create a new folder under Spectra, so it'll show up here, the folder that you're familiar with. You can see that Organic 3 from 2009 has a folder right here. You could always create one for your class as well, whatever you wish. The point is, you type in the name that you can make sense of, you'll click save and all that jazz. I'm going to cancel because I don't need to save this. You want to save it so that if you lose the Spectra, the only copy that you made, you don't want to have to rerun it. When you're done processing, save it under a name that you know, and this way later on, anytime this semester, you can print it out and you're good to go. And then that finishes off what you're doing. There's no problem with when you're done, you can actually close your, what they call this is graph 1 or graph whatever it is. You can actually turn around and just close that. You can actually close the whole program if you really want, but if you close your graph, you can see that you can still start the whole thing over with scan background, and the next person's ready to go.